greetings, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am your host, Coach Charlene, and guess who is back in the house? Nurse Candy is in the house. I'm so excited to see you again. I think it's been a little while since you've been on the show, but I wanted to reach out to you because, girl, I'm just seeing you do amazing work. And I just wanted to, like, okay, let's do halftime so you can tell us what's going on with Miss Candice's just all of your brilliance and all of the beautiful things that you're doing. So, for those that have not seen your episode before, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll jump into the conversation?
Absolutely. So I'm Nurse Candy, nurse health educator, and I've been a nurse for over 10 years, and I just love serving and empowering nurses. So that is my specialty, just helping nurses, vision beyond the bedside. I'm so many things. I'm a mother, I'm a child of God. I'm, an educator and also an author coach as well. So just everything in one to just be able to just help everyone be themselves and pull that out of them.
And well, that is wonderful. So I'm so great to it's so great to have you back. So I have a question for you as I was listening to you. So where did you start out on the bedside? Just so I can get a little bit of context. I can't remember exactly.
Yes, actually, so fun fact, I was a CNA. So I was a CNA for about three, total 6 years, but in my fourth year, I decided to go to nursing school, right? So nursing school chose me, or I chose it, however it
Yeah.
worked, right? Yeah. So my background. So I was a CNA, and then I became a LVN and received my associate's degree in science, and then kept going and fell in love with teaching and educating, and then became a certified. Received my credentials and teaching. So then I took the nursing component and education component and mixed those together. But my background in nursing is in mental health. I am a mental health nurse. So that's my primary background before going into running a 12-bed mental health facility as a program director and administrator.
Well, that is wonderful. So, Candy, you got to tell us what's been up. What's the latest in
Charlene,
your
Coach
world? I
Charlene. Oh
so
my
look, this is
goodness.
so here. This is what it is. I was looking on LinkedIn one day, and then I saw you say something about you're going to rebrand yourself.
Yes,
Yeah, so I want to know, like, what is that all about? Why do you need
absolutely.
to rebrand yourself? Help us out.
Yes, so the rebranding, it came from me stepping into my CEO era. So my CEO era, that is my 40 Lux era, because I just turned 40 years old. So something happens when a woman, right, and starts to get to their 40s. So I was really, really excited about that. But just rebranding and who I am and standing strong and knowing who I am and being comfortable with that. And as a woman, as a leader, as a nurse, as an educator, as a mentor, as a coach, I do so many different things. And so it's time to start leveling up and really starting to expand and really getting crystal clear on the vision of getting in position to where I'm going. So my rebranding is rebranding everything from the Empowered Health Academy, where we empower all aspiring nurses, and we have, you know, big workshops and different things for our nurses wanting to go to nursing school, preparing them with their mental health, to just rebranding my brand of Nurse Candy. And that's with birthing, the love and the desire that I have, as so many leaders, that, I notice them, speaking and doing all different things. And I'm like, you got a book?
I know.
Everyone has a story. We all have a story, right? So my rebranding came with just rebranding of who I am, what I do, who I serve, and who is Nurse Candy behind the Empowered Health Academy, behind the bedside, behind visioning. So stepping into that and stepping into that light, and it's coming together. It's beautiful.
Well, I think that's beautiful because I think a lot of times that we see people that they're the things, but they don't know who they are. So I really hear that like in its fullness, you saying that I am really rebranding who I truly am, or your true essence is coming out. And it's absolutely dynamic and amazing because I was watching so I think it was this last program you did, and it was so many students there, and I mean, just an amazing impact that you're making in the students' lives. So why don't you tell me like something that you are most proud of when it comes to your assignment that you have here on Earth?
What I'm most proud of is the clarity. I'm most proud of having a clear vision, a direct vision on what my mission is and who I am and who I stand for, right? And what my beliefs is, my values, my principles, the core to the root, right? Because that's what builds this strong foundation. And it took me a long time to get here. And that's why I say, it's that I'm in this era, this CEO era. And what that means is I stand in, authority of who I am and whose I am,
Yes,
right? And as a woman in business, as being a leader, a lot of the times when we're leading the way, we have to make sure, I had to make sure and go back and make God my executive director,
right.
right? I had to, that's my rebranding and standing in my faith, right? But I'm most proud of being the woman that I am today because, as being a mentor, I've had so many different mentors. I've had, coaches, and it's really important to be able to be under the leadership of someone, not only trustworthy, but someone who aligns with
Yes,
who you are. But in order to have that alignment, you have to know, right? And that kind of brings me back to, my, I had a business coach several years ago, and she taught me all about business, and it was great. I really admired this woman. I met her at a networking event, and I had this seat at the table with all these beautiful women, and something about this woman, I admired it. She just, the confidence, and that she just flowed, and she was a best-selling author, and and she knew what she wanted, and she just knew how to work that room, and I was like, I like that. I want to be right. And I met with her 5 minutes. I met with her 5 minutes and gave her $10,000, Coach Charlene, in 5 minutes,
wow,
right? Because she saw something in me that I knew I had in myself, and I knew that I knew she could get me there. But after time, after
that's
meeting
awesome.
with her week by week for 6 months, going to her private office, going to her home, and meeting with her and studying with her, I soon realized that something was off. Something was
Mm.
off. And it took for me to have a spiritual awakening to realize that we were not we were not aligned. She was
Wow.
she was profit driven, and I was purpose driven.
Mm. That's good. That's really good. You've said a lot in just that short period of time, but I really want to get to that part about being clear, that clarity piece, because I think a lot of people struggle with clarity, like really, no, asking the question, what do I really want? And so, how did Nurse Candy find that clarity? Like, were there any steps to getting clear? What could you tell someone out there that's listening of how they can find clarity in their vision and whatever it is that God's called them to do?
Absolutely. So sometimes that clarity, sometimes that comes by discovering what may look like rejection, and sometimes you have to resurface to get repositioned, right? And then in those moments, because it comes into those dark moments, or comes into that uncertainty where you're just like, I don't really know what I want. I don't know what I want to do. I don't really know what it is. I feel like it's more, and especially as nurses, we're givers. We take care of other people, and sometimes we get lost in that. So for me to get clear, I had to first stop looking in, and I had to look up and really
Yeah.
ask. God, for what is it that you want me to do? Because I've tried to do all the different things on my own, and when we try to do it on our own, it
Right.
doesn't, sometimes it doesn't work out the way it's supposed to do. So getting clear, that means, steps that I had to take was to be in isolation. It was
Yeah.
okay to get in the zone, right? To remove that noise from other people and really shift my mind mentally to really understand what is it that I want to do, or what am I supposed to be doing. And it really came from my passion. What brings me fire? What keeps
Yes.
my flame lit? What tosses and turns me? What is that, right? And really zooming in on, that vision, and really getting to understand, okay, what is my mission, right? So I would really say is, don't ask around, really get in tune with yourself and really feel what your alignment
Absolutely.
is, really, and really just ask, what is it that I am supposed to do, right? And then really figure, like, okay, well, once you discover what you're supposed to do, your big why, that's your purpose, that's the stack of your foundation, that's the center of you. And then once you can get a clear vision of who you are, then you're able to kind of dig in and start pulling out those pieces and really start taking small steps, those baby steps, goals, small goals, right? Following up on those goals, and then continuing to make another goal, follow up on that until you get to where it is, that big vision of that clear picture of where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love how you said, find those things that kind of that passion that makes you Simon T. Bailey he said makes you come alive, like that fire within, because that's what I start doing. I start noticing different things of like people would just out of the blue say, "Did you notice that you did A, B, and C?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just doing me." And so eventually I just had to pause, like you said, and then I start like literally documenting all of the things that I would kept hearing people say because one of the things that I absolutely love is like a brand is not really who you say you are, but it's what people say about you when you leave the room. So, in other words, like if I'm like compassionate, loving, like I want people to be able to say that. Like that's the brand of Christ. So, I want to be the peacemaker. I want to be the one that spreads the love. So, I really love how you said that because if you can tap into those little details, but you got to like pay attention to it. But many of us are so busy that we don't pay attention to
Well,
those
you hit it. You
giftings in
you
those
hit it.
gifted areas.
Yeah. You hit it on the nail, because when you think of the brand, you think of who you are, right? And it does take a lot of self inventory. You have to. That's why you have to be
Yes.
still, because you have to dig into it. And as you're digging in, you have to write it out, like you said, document
Yes.
it, right? And listen to
Yeah.
what others are saying, right? So it's like when other people are starting to bring your names into rooms that you're not even in, that's when you realize, like, okay,
Yeah.
because if somebody can remember you, they can understand, then that it speaks volumes, and that's what you want, right? So your brand, that's your legacy, right?
Yes.
That's your purpose, that's your vision, and that's what you want to leave behind. That's what you want to be remembered by, because your brand is, that's how somebody knows you're coming. That's how they can
That's
identify
right.
with you. That's how you begin your authority. How do you stand in that authority position? How do you own that? Right? Your brand, a brand is severe. When you think of what a brand is, when you're branding yourself, that's
Yeah.
strong, right? And you
Yeah.
can rebrand yourself as many times. That's a good thing about it. You get to play around
Right.
with it until you get it right. You get to play around and see how it fits, and see how it, until you just get it, you nail it, and you're like, yeah, that's it. That's
And
where I'm supposed
I absolutely love that. And just like even just on the topic of branding, I think about like I used to like to share this story, like in say Starbucks, for instance. So I was I mean, pretty much my drink that I like to get from Starbucks, I can order it anywhere that I see the Starbucks sign, right? And so one day I was in this hospital and they had the little logo of the Starbucks, and then I got my same drink, and it was like disgusting, and I was like, oh,
Like
wait a
that's not
minute.
it.
This is not the brand. This
That's
is like a logo. You
yeah, yeah,
only
yeah.
have the logo, but you are not the brand. And so
You're not the
I was
brand.
like, you know what? When you really start thinking about it, like your brand, Candy, you've built
Mhm.
trust. And so because of your brand, because of how
Yes.
you present yourself, because of all of the lives that you've touched, people trust you. And that's what I see also as a brand. So when I didn't get the drink that they supposedly promised me, because they promised me that it would taste the same all over the world,
Mhm.
but this particular company was fake. And they had
Oh, it was they're not who they said they were.
no, they were not. So that's hey, that right there is a whole nother story of,
Right,
really being
okay.
authentic. Like that's why I said you don't really have to say who you are, because when you show up, I love what you just said. Your brand is preceding you. People know that you're coming because of your authentic presence, because of your brand.
That's
So I
right.
absolutely
That's
love that,
right.
Candy.
That's right. And that's good stuff, because it's one of those things where, right, is in the scriptures, and I'm not going to quote it wrong, right? But it's your gifts will make
Yes,
room for you, right? And so, that's the
absolutely.
brand. You're the brand, right? And it will make room for who you are, right? And Maya Angelou says people will remember your name, but they remember how you made them feel. And that's the connection. We all, it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all just want to feel that connection. So within yourself and within your brand and your mission, you have to be consistent, right? Because
Yes.
people are always watching, right? People are always watching, even if they don't realize they're watching. They'll see you. You're like, oh wow, they see you in passing, But what did people say? And you can tell a lot about that in your reviews. It speaks for itself. People will say, they'll say,
Yeah.
oh, she made me feel comfortable, or she made me really feel like she's seen me. She really heard me. And that goes a long ways, and that's priceless. Because when you can put value to who you are, that's when you know you're on to something.
Yeah.
That's your value, right? That's your
Yeah.
value. That's your worth. That's your identity. That's who you are. It's
And you
it's
know
beautiful.
what was so cool about it? You don't even have to compete. You
Isn't that
don't
the
have to
best
compete.
thing?
It
Isn't
is
that the greatest
amazing.
thing?
It
You're like,
is.
I'm
Like
not in
there is like
competition with
literally when
nobody,
you no, just with yourself, it becoming the highest
right?
expression of yourself. So I absolutely love that, because like when you get to this level that we're talking about right here, you do not have to compete with anyone. I don't have to keep looking at other people and what they're
No,
doing. I'm focusing in on, okay, what have I been assigned to do? And I'm going to
absolutely,
do that. And I'm going to do that to the best of my ability, so that
absolutely,
I can touch the lives that I've been ordained to touch. So no competition. Love it.
absolutely. And isn't that beautiful? Because there's so many people just listening to to your show today that you just gave them permission, not to be in competition with anyone, right?
Yes.
There
Yes.
is no competition, and that's the beautiful thing, right? And that's why, and we can't try to be someone else that we're not. A lot of times we spend so much time trying to be like someone else and do it how they're doing it, and really just you being your true authentic self, just being who you are, and it's easier said than done. But when you get to that level in your life, to that pillar, to where you start putting that formula together, and you're like, oh, I'm the sauce the whole entire
Yes.
time. It was me. I was searching, Mary, I'm searching for a real love. But the real love
Yes.
is you.
It is.
You're,
I
it's
love
you.
that.
It's in us the whole time. Right. So I love that. And once we put those pieces together and we realize,
Yeah.
we're just like, wow, like there is no competition. We all we have to do is just be us, because and that's standing in authority, and that's knowing, You, in order to know where you're going, you have to know how far you came,
Yes.
right? So in order to know where you're going, you have to know how far you came. Like, and that's how you can tell, like, where are you today in this moment, right? You ask yourself, where am I? And then you look back and you say, wow, how far have I come, right? How far have I come in not a long time? Like, where was I 6 months ago? Where was I a
Right.
month ago? Right? And when you look back and you give yourself grace, and you're just like,
I
go
know.
girl. We clap
That's
for
it.
ourselves, right? We show up
That's
for
right.
ourselves. We clap for ourselves because we deserve that, right? When we get crystal clear and we understand the mission and the assignment, it
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing on the competition piece, there's no one else that has Nurse Candy's fingerprint. There's no one else that has your fingerprint. So you don't have to be concerned about being anybody else. So to know that you are a designer's original and that you can
yes.
be amazing just like you are is like super, super cool. So I am so
And
glad
thank
that we
you.
threw that out there.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so you
And
guys
that's
be
when you
free to
shine.
be.
That's where you shine. That's where the brightness come. And then when you hear people, you hear what they say, and it really, and to be always in full transparency, because that's who I am. I'm always very transparent with my students, always transparent with my mentees, and I can only be me, right? And when I
Yeah.
think back, we talk about how far we come, right? And I just think, like, two years ago, I was stuck in my bed staring at the ceiling, like, stuck. And you just
Yeah.
think, and we don't make it about ourselves, and we're thinking about, well, who is waiting on us to show up?
Yes.
Who is waiting on us to speak up, right? We ask us that because when we stop making it about me, 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 and start thinking about who needs to hear this. Like, there's so many listeners that watch your show, and so many people who watch it, from all different genres, from nurses, thought leaders, you know, business women and men, and we just think of what is that inside of us that we need to birth. What do we need to give out? What is that? What is that thing? What is that one thing? And only you know. It's inside of you.
Yeah.
We all have that one thing, and we're like, we kept putting it off. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have time. I don't have time. I'm busy. I'm doing so many things. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves another question. What are you willing to let go?
Mm,
Right?
that part.
What are we willing to let go? And that comes with the sacrifices. Because there's so many
Yeah.
things. We have so many things going on all the time. We have so many things. We're like, yeah, but are all those things just things? Or all of those things purpose? You know? And then you think about, ask yourself another question. Well, what will happen if I don't do that thing? What is it going to look like?
Yes. Well, those are
I mean,
very
I'm going to
deep
toss and turn
questions.
on that pillow like, that thing, that thing is burning in me, but I'm too afraid, or I don't know enough about it, or I don't know, I've never done it before, and I don't know what it's going to look like. Take a leap, if being a risk taker. As leaders, we got to play the game. We got to take
Yeah.
a risk. It's risky, it's scary, but we'll never know until we try, right?
That's so powerful, to be honest, because that's literally, Candy, why I early retired. Because I was like, what if I never do this? I would probably live in regret for the rest of my elderly years. And I did not want that to be named among me. I wanted to be able to say, I did it, then I followed the whisper of my heart and did what I felt my heart was telling me to do, and impacted those that I was supposed to impact. So I had to answer that question that you just said. And I think it's so important for us when we get in these seasons of unrest and these seasons of frustration and irritation and things like that, because there's so much that we can do as nurses. I mean, look, you're slaying the game with all of the different things that you're doing. So I'm excited about all of the possibilities that we can do as nurses, as experts, as women of God. Just so much that we can do, and so many people that we can impact. So, absolutely love it. So, let's get back into Nurse Candy. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing right now.
So what I am doing right now is I have I'm building a writer's family. So these are all the leaders that, that want to make a difference. They want to break those generational cycles. They have a message that they want to get out. They want to be able to teach on platforms and reach the masses with what they're teaching. So I am so excited to be able to use all my resources that I have built and accumulated and built in partnerships and people that I know that can help get you there to where you need to go. When I wrote my first book, Mindful Meal Prep, it takes it back to, 5 years ago, and we're up on our 5-year anniversary with this book, best-selling book, award winning, won 2 awards, bestseller book, and best fitness journey book.
Wow.
And without writing that book, my life would have been very different. This book has opened so many doors, you know, as a nurse, as a woman, as a leader, that I would have never had an opportunity, to be in or to be a part of. Right. And inside those doors, the opportunity comes within the people that you have access to. That's gold. Right. So that's
Yeah.
where I am now, is being able to help inspire and aspire, the authors.
Well, that's wonderful. You'll have to tell us a little bit more about that. Actually, why don't you tell us now a little bit about what you're doing with authors and things like that? That would
Yes,
be
absolutely,
fabulous.
absolutely. It's so exciting. So I have this master class, that I created. It's called Unleash Your Inner Author.
Mm,
Unleash Your Inner Author. And inside this, we go over, a 3-part series, being able to, you know, get crystal clear on that vision, right? And really be able to discover what message it is that we want to use. What is our legacy? We go through so many. We have not even, it's just the stories of what we went through, but how we overcame it. Who is
right.
waiting on that story, and I'm able to help you get there, to, as your coach, to guide you, through this process. And by the end, we would have already created an outline of developed, to start the beginning process of this manuscript, and how to get the book done in 30 days. Because the thing is, as being a nurse, is, being, that's, I know, it's the thing is, with time, we're just like, oh, I just don't have the time. But sometimes we have to prioritize. We have to spend some time, right, and have the support to be able to get something done, because it's going to last a long time. One book is a generational asset. One
Right.
book, you're creating legacy. You're creating generational wealth, right? That one book, you can create a whole program, or a whole school,
Right. Yeah.
right? If that's curriculum. We say, what do I want to teach? Whatever you want to teach. You teach something that you're good at, right? And that's a call it an evergreen asset,
Yeah.
right? Your book is your business card, right? Like, that's who can speak for itself in authority, right? So I'm excited about this 3-day challenge that we have coming up in my author mentor program, to where we have a big launch party. Right, we write this book together every week. We meet, or we check in with one another, and then I introduce you to, my writing team, to be able to help you have crystal clear on your manuscript, on your publishing, whether you want to self-publish, you want to go to publishing company, what does it look like? You have so many questions, right? And to just be able to just make that process good for you, and to be able to have that deadline and actually have the physical book in your hand. So I'm
Wonderful.
I'm so excited about this. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. I'll make sure that I put the link so people can register. When
Yes.
is the date
Yes.
again, Candace?
It's go so that the challenge starts. I'm so excited. It starts on the 18th. So it's going to be
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, 3 days. And so for the people who are not able to catch it live, it's going to be pre-recorded. So you'll be able to still have access, to it, and be able to get that process started on taking that pen to paper and really start jotting down. A lot of people have so many journals and writing, and just like, I have so many books, like I don't even know if you just put all your journals and stuff together. It's really not as hard as just, having that right support and having the right people by your side to just be able to guide you through that process, right? To get you there faster.
Wow, that is amazing. So I'm definitely going to make sure I put that information down. So as we continue on, I always ask for those three wisdom gems, right? So I'm
Yes,
going to ask that. I'm
absolutely.
going to ask that. But first, before we go there, why don't you tell people about your academy? Because that is some, wonderful work that you're doing right there.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Empowered Health Academy. That's where we empower all of our future nurses. So we focus on guiding them through the nursing admission process, and make sure we're focusing on their mental health first, right? So all of the different things within starting nursing school and burning out fast, we help all of our future nurses get on the pathway to nursing school with our pathway program that helps transition them smoothly through the process. And we just opened up our new on-site location. We're located in Carmichael. So we have our campus where we're really really excited about, where we're able to really zoom in, and then we also have our classes virtually as well. So everything continuing education, everything empowering our future nurses and beyond. So we're really really excited about the Empower Health Academy. Yeah,
Well,
it's
that's
awesome. And our
awesome. Keep doing
amazing
amazing.
brunch we had in August, it was back to school brunch. It was a success. It was
There was
a
so many
success.
people in there. I
Yes.
don't know how many people came, but it looked like it was
Yeah,
like
we had in
massive.
that space, we had about it was about 30 people. About 30 people
Yeah,
in that space that can hold about 25. So it was a
right.
nice size. And the beautiful part, I think the most beautiful part about our back to school brunch, and we'll be having another one, we're already planning. This the second one is going to be in August, and is all of the nurses that I have taught, my alumni, they had an opportunity to do a panel speaking and facilitate workshops in speaking to our future nurses. So we're powered by nurses for CNAs and for future nurses. So it made it
That
just
is so
powerful to
beautiful.
see it come together. All Nurse Candy students.
Oh, wow, that's so
Everyone knows
special.
they take my class. They already know they're in for a treat. I have that ability, that gift to really see the greatness.
Well,
And
that's
I
wonderful.
can
Well,
see through
thank
that.
you. Thank you for sharing that. So, why don't you give us
Yes.
some wisdom gems now, my friend?
Yes, absolutely. So I love it. Wisdom gems. The first wisdom gem that I would say is knowledge, right? So knowledge is power, but it's not going to activate the power unless you apply it. So it's like you have to apply that pressure, right? That knowledge is, and you're like, okay, what knowledge? Knowledge is in what you read, is in what you watch, is with what you teach yourself. Teach yourself something, not just what's in we're taught in school, but go outside of the box. Even though we can't really go outside the box, stretch the box. Stretch it,
Yes.
right? Stretch that box to the best ability. So that knowledge. And then the second wisdom I would say is learn your worth. When you learn your worth, it's gonna illuminate your value. And we talked about that earlier, but those two go hand in hand. Your worth and your value. And when you think of your value and you think of how important it is, you think about, okay, well, how can I put a price tag on that? How can I put a price tag on my value? You can't,
Right. Right.
right? But you have to discover that, right? And the third piece of wisdom is the one golden ticket here, and this is good old Maya Angelou. And believe people when they show you who they are the first time.
Ooh.
That's when you. That's
Okay.
when Coach Charlene. That's when
Boom.
you drop the mic. Boom.
Yes. Okay, girl, you better come on and expand a little bit. Let's help our audience out
Yes,
a little
yes,
bit.
yes, yes. Listen, let me unpack that. You know, when you believe the person when they show you who they are the first time, it's always a wolf in sheep's clothing,
Mm.
right? And so you have to, when people are going to, the good thing about us, when we're in tune with ourselves, when we're aligned with ourselves, when we know who we are, when we're comfortable with who we are, right? Then we can feel in our gut, we know something is off. But when you're indecisive and you're in between and you're in that I don't know stage and I don't really know stage, you're in between, we start making excuses for people because we don't really want the truth, because we're not able to mentally or emotionally or physically or spiritually, intellectually even handle the truth. So we start making excuses for behaviors,
Yeah.
right? We make excuses for it. And I would have learned, I probably wouldn't have so many books today if I would have just believed the person the first time, right? But I wouldn't have so much stuff to say, so many stories. But people will show you who they are. They'll show you who they really are. And it's going to be up to you to believe them because they already showed you. So when you get to a point to where when someone shows you who they are, when you're able to receive it, got it. Up, noted. You don't have to make a broad announcement. You don't have to, oh, I know who you are. No, you just block. You could block, you can remove, you can delete, you can airplane mode, you can silence, quiet that noise, and you can slowly but surely start removing, repositioning yourself, shifting yourself from that energy or that entity or that person, that toxicity, right?
Yeah.
Because the opposite of healthy is
Yeah.
toxicity, right? And you want to avoid that at all costs. And that stands and it ties everything in together of standing in that authority and knowing who you are. Because when you know who you are, you know who they're not.
Yeah, that's so rich. It's very good and a serious, definitely mic drop one because a lot of people get tripped up right there with trusting again and giving another person the chance. But I love that when they show who they are, believe it. So awesome. So
Just
thank
first time.
yeah, thank you so much for those three wisdom gems. Before I leave though, if there's someone out there that they've heard you and they're like, man, I know there's something great that I want to do. I just don't know how to start. Like, what would you tell someone that's feeling kind of stuck, you know, and they want to do something more than what they're doing now? What kind of advice would you give them?
My advice always is just start. Start where you are. Don't let perfection prevent you from becoming who you're supposed to be, right? Don't let perfectionism, right, You have to be perfect. You're waiting on the right moment, on the right time for this big grand finale, to happen. And it's already happening and you miss it. And then someone else gets it. They catch it. And then you get upset with someone else. You're like, that was my idea. I was supposed to do that. How did they know that? They took that from me, right? And what's going to be for you is always going to be for you. So my advice always is to start where you are.
Yeah.
Start where you are and don't wait. Do it as there is no tomorrow. Have urgency, have pep in your step. Do it scared. Do it when you're not ready. Do it when you don't know enough, right? And don't do it alone. Ask for help. Look around you.
Yeah.
Look in your circle. You look around and you see people who are doing things that you would like to do, you know? Go to coffee, meet with them, connect. Be genuine. Ask them questions, right? Start research. That's the research process, right? Start the research. Start understanding and really seeing, okay, well, instead of looking at them and saying, oh, it's a competition, we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Look at them and say, well, you really inspired me. I really like how I really like, I like your vibe. I like how you do things. Do you mind sharing with me on, some things you would like to share, or, podcasts you're listening to, choose just, when the moment is right. What are you listening to? What are you reading? Right? A lot of it is in the books. A wise
Yeah.
person always says, you want to know the secret to life? Put it in a book. No one will ever read
Yeah, I've
it,
heard
right?
that.
Put
Hey,
it in a
unless you're
book.
hungry.
Nobody read it. Hide it in a book, right? That's why usually, grandmas and grandpas, they always hide things in the Bible, right? They hide it, they put it in
Yeah.
the Bible. Then no one's gonna check it.
That's funny. Well, so it has been such a treat to have you back and just to bless our spirits and our soul from all of the wonderful work you're doing. I'm so glad that I know you, and I'm so excited about all of the possibilities, and looking forward to connecting and partnering with you on some things too. So thank you so much for being on the show again. And then how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me online at www.empoweredhealthacademy.us.
I want to thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of When the Moment Chooses You. I'm your host, Coach Charlene, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Each journey we've shared today is a reminder that when the moment chooses you, the possibilities are endless.